What's good, guys? Prince Sports here, man. Keeping it 3,000, all right, as always. And I want to get into something Max Kellerman said today. Okay, Max Kellerman said LeBron James is a blown-up version of Scottie Pippen. Okay, now, I know what you're thinking. Man, there's no way you could compare these guys. Actually, they have a lot in common more than anything. And I think LeBron homers, like Philly would say, slurpers, know this. This is why they try to upgrade Scottie Pippen and make Scottie Pippen better than what he is. When in fact, Scottie Pippen is a top 50 player. You can make a case a top 30 player in the world. All right? I mean, of all time, basically. But keep this in mind. If you're not top 5 or top 10 at the most, nobody going to go out of their way talking about you like that. So Scottie Pippen, you don't crack that list. You ain't better than Shaq. You ain't better than LeBron. You ain't better than Kobe. You ain't better than Kareem. You ain't better than Magic. You ain't better than Bird. The list goes on and on.
Jeez.
All right? So if you ain't better than all these guys, why would we going to give you the same credit as guys that we talk about in the top 5? Think about it. It don't make any sense at all. So that's dumbfounded and stupid. Just goes to show you that Scottie Pippen is on one and makes no sense. You know, besides crying and being a big baby, you signed off on all of this stuff that's going on. Okay, that's like me getting a movie role and somebody telling me, hey, man, you got to play a crackhead in this movie. All right, then I get mad and say, hey, you know what? Man, they made me turn a crackhead in this role. You know what the role was, you know, before you signed the contract. You can't get mad if they make you look like a crackhead in the movie and you signed off on it. It's the same thing with Scottie Pippen. You know that material was going to get dropped. You had no problem with it then, but a couple years later, you got a problem with it? That makes no sense. You know, but let's stick to the program. You got LeBron James, all right, who first came into the league, was mentally weak. Okay, he had some issues when it comes to closing games. But here's the edge that he got over Scottie Pippen. At least he was a franchise player, something Scottie Pippen never was able to be. Okay, even when Michael Jordan was gone for those last 2 years, nobody really had that much faith in you. They was going to try to pass the baton to somebody else. But we all know you technically was the best player on the team. But that goes to show you, you never had any alpha in you. You was always viewed as a number 2. Something LeBron James never was viewed as, probably until now, you know, so, and that's due to old age. So LeBron James is everything Scottie Pippen isn't. Scottie Pippen is the lower downgrade version of everything that LeBron James is, if that makes any sense, okay? Hey, Pippen, how many times Jordan had to bail you out? How many times the Detroit Pistons disrespected you? How many times Future been up in your house?
50 times?
More.
100 times?
More.
200 times?
More.
500 times?
Probably.
LeBron James is a better player than Scottie Pippen. All right? Scottie Pippen's a point forward. So is LeBron James. All right? It's just a simple fact that if Scottie Pippen, if you was a legit player, a top 10 or a top 5 player, you would have a more impact on the game like LeBron James had. Simple like that. Okay? You would have had those type of numbers, MVPs. But dog, you was never built like that, and you never will be built like that. But I do see the similarities between you two. You both has moments when you're mentally weak, right? But LeBron overcome that to a certain extent. Now you may say he overcome it by joining super teams. That's not much overcoming it, but nevertheless, he still moves a little different compared to Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen's still acting like a weakling, so to speak, you know? You still simping out here, you know? Pippen the simp, you know? Matt, it was wonder how you guys' names rhyme off together too much. But, you know, you are Herb in every aspect, like how we used to say up in the 90s, you know? And Max Kellerman say he's a blown-up version of Scottie Pippen. That could go many ways. You could look at that and say, hey, are you saying that LeBron James is a blown-up version, as in a more overhyped, a more overrated
Nigga! Help me!
version of what Scottie Pippen is, you know? And he never clarified that, but that could be taken in that aspect as well. You know, me personally, LeBron James and Scottie Pippen would have been playing the same roles, especially if they played with a Kobe and Mike, because there's no way those guys would have been able to top those guys thinking the way they think. Too passive, you know, too easy to pass the baton, in certain aspects. But LeBron James is less to pass the baton than Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen to get on his knees and do anything for you. But I think LeBron James will at least bend down a little bit, but not all the way down like Scottie Pippen would be. If that makes any sense, you know what I'm saying? Because LeBron James does have an ego, and he does like protecting his image for being that number one guy on that team. And so you have to do that a little bit anyway in sports, because perception is reality sometimes, but you don't want to go overboard with it like how LeBron did in the media, a couple of times. But that's my take on Max Kellerman saying that. Like I said, a lot in common, but also there are different worlds, One is the lesser version of what a point forward is, and that's Scottie Pippen. LeBron James is more the superstar version of what a point forward is. I think that's the best way to explain it. Prince Sports out. Peace.